Company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview. Hello and welcome to the Research Talks here on Stockbox with Alan Green. And Alan, I'm calling you today from, believe it or not, sunny Scotland. Is that true?
Sunny.
Do you believe me?
No, I don't, Mark, because I'm sitting on the south coast. It's grey and overcast. The wind's blowing. It's freezing cold, and it's how I imagine Scotland to be.
Most of the time, I think most of the time it is. But I have a lovely anti-cyclonic morning here. It is blue skies and the sun is shining. It's probably a little bit nippy outside. I've not ventured outside yet, but yeah, it is nice and sunny. So maybe a walk along the Clyde is in order this afternoon while the weather is kind. But yes, I'm in the UK. Go on, carry on.
A bracing walk.
A bracing walk, yes, indeed. Yeah, a bracing walk. Yeah. But yes, I'm in the UK visiting the Stockbox team where their office is. So just here for a few days and then back down to my family and then back home to the Netherlands. So, but here we are again. It's the end of the week. Are you doing okay?
Yes, it's we were saying before we came on air about how strange the markets are. You know, the US markets and the TSX markets are going 10 to the dozen. You know, lots of interest in small caps and miners and explorers, and yet here it seems to be we just have this malaise still, and we're just seeing share prices drifting away. And I've only one theory for it, and I think it probably is fairly. There'll be some truth in it, but I just believe we have this combination of an uncertain Brexit future. We've come out of Brexit, out of Europe with Brexit, which we all wanted to do. Well, I certainly wanted to do, but we then have with that the end of the furlough scheme, uncertainties over jobs, although the recent job data has been encouraging, and of course, whether companies can continue to function as they did pre-COVID. So I think that's a cocktail that's weighing on investor sentiment, and money's been taken off the table, I think, as a result of, or partly as a result of that. And at some stage, that it has to bounce back. You know, I'm convinced of it, and I do believe there are some great opportunities to be had, in the sector that we tend to talk about most of all, which of course is the mining and resource sector.
Indeed. It is very strange, isn't it, that New York and the other markets are doing very well, but yet London just doesn't seem to have the volume at the minute. Particularly in the junior cap. I mean, it's been pretty dire for a while. But I mean, you're right. It has to at some point turn around. That's that's the what is it that Mark Twain said that Paul Johnson always says? I can't remember. But I have to remember the quote. But
actually. I saw Paul at Craig Brown's funeral last Friday. We'll come on to ECR shortly, and we were talking about that. But of course, the other one, which I also mentioned to Paul, is that the markets can remain irrational for longer than you can remain solvent.
Yeah,
which I think is.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. Yeah. And
so there is that. There is that factor too. So and I think you just got to. Well, as with all investing, never invest more than you can afford to lose, because it's not like that all the time. But we're in this malaise at the moment, and I think we're coming to a point where, particularly at the start of the new year, we should see a big increase in volume, and it's the time where people come back and look at their investments, look at their strategy for the year, what they're going to invest in, and you'll see a lot more liquidity then. And that with some good results, I think could really start to turn the market around. I think there are some great opportunities to be had.
Yes, indeed. It does have to turn around at some point. It just has to. And this is what we talk about on Research Talks, isn't it? Finding the value propositions, because now is the time to be acquiring these when it feels like swallowing broken glass. So what broken glass are you going to talk to us about today?
That's a very good analogy, actually. Yeah, it does sometimes feel like that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to talk about a company we spoke about just prior to its float earlier this year. That's Caracal Gold, of course. The EPIC code is GCAT, currently trading on a market cap of 18.1 million. Shares are trading size 1.9p on the year, as low as 0.8 1.85, and today, as we talk, they're at 1.25. And of course, Caracal was restructured in the summer and listed on the London main market on the 23rd of August, and it's acquiring and developing underexploited gold mining opportunities in Eastern Africa, and its primary focus, of course, is on the Kilimapisa gold mine, which is in Narok County in Kenya. 230 miles west of Nairobi and about 20 kilometers from the Tanzanian border. There's a current JORC a mineral resource estimate of 671,000 ounces of gold, and there are mining and exploration licenses on the territory. Now, this is a gold mine that's been producing, or it's a region that's been producing gold since the 1920s, and the mine has been through various ownerships over the past years, and it's slowly evolved into an up-to-date mine employing a large section of the local community. When Caracal came to market, it raised $5.5 million, and straight away that money, as it said in its operational update in November, is to be used to continue the refurbishment of the mine. A lot of the equipment is out of date, and the actual efficiency of the mine was fairly well impaired as a result of the old and inefficient machinery. So in that operational update, the company said, and Robbie McRae, the CEO in particular, said that in September mining in September they met the increase in run of mine production, and the improvement in the production there came in on budget as well, because obviously they're spending money on bringing the mine back into production and increasing its efficiency. And there's a budget there to do that, so they're within budget, which is very good news. They tested the gold processing plant and achieved over 700 tons per day, and also a record month for September, just under 500,000 tons per day, which is pretty impressive. Also sold 570 ounces of gold in September. That's a 20% increase on July, and the operating costs during that month came in at $985 per ton. So we all know what gold's selling at the moment. So that's a pretty healthy profit. So that's just one part of the Caracal investment proposition. Of course, the other part is that it's an extremely fertile area for gold exploration, and previous work has revealed further assets within the vicinity of the Kilimapisa mine. Certainly, the southern mineralization zone. They've drilling and exploration there has revealed grades such as 40 meters at 4.85 grams per ton and 7 meters at 7.6 grams per ton. So those are pretty good numbers. As we've gone forward and the money's been spent, the efficiency of the mine has improved. Robbie McRae, in his outlook for Q4, said they were aiming to achieve monthly production sales of 1,000 ounces of gold, which is pretty impressive. Further operating cost reductions. They're also going to dual list, as well as the London listing. They'll be dual listing on the Nairobi Stock Exchange, and they have just also announced that they've connected to the national power grid. So, of course, when you've got generators or on-site generators, powering the mine and all the machinery there, as you can imagine, there are probably sort of scary times when you're on the way down the lift and everything stops and all the lights go out. So that's now not the case. They're connected to the national grids. They have also just announced the renewal of the prospecting license in the surrounding areas for another 3 years. That's been approved by the government, most recently, they've announced that a reverse circulation drilling program has started at Kilimapisa. you remember I mentioned the JORC estimate of 670,000 ounces. They're aiming to increase that JORC mineral resource estimate to 2 million ounces. Which is a big jump, but they believe it's in the ground around the mine and within the region. The RC drilling program will be completed by the end of Q1 next year, and this is, I think, to pick up a company that owns a gold mine that's in production, that's been refurbished with all the latest equipment for an 18 million valuation is an absolute steal. But as we said at the start, Mark, this is where gold miners are now. But this to me, you've got a gold producing company here for micro cap, almost early stage exploration money.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, looking to build out, aren't they, as well on that, and really secure and solidify their footprint over in Kenya in the Greenstone Belt. So, yes, I think a compelling case there for sure. It's with the valuation and, you say, producing as well. It's rare that you find that. I think that already de-risks the project quite a lot. So, yeah, very very interested in what the Caracal guys are doing. They're also very active on the Twitter, aren't they, as well, with keeping people up to date and pictures, putting out that kind of thing. So I think their investor communication is very good, which is also important as well for people to follow that story and see what's actually happening on the ground.
Yes, it is. Yeah. That is very important, as you say. It's it's a key part of communicating with the markets nowadays and communicating with investors. So yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so sticking on the gold theme, then we're going to talk about ECR minerals as well.
ECR Minerals, indeed. Just a quick sort of financial summary. I mean, the company currently trades on a market cap of just 12.7 million, and that's obviously the share price has come down to currently 1.27p from a year high of just under 4. But of course, it's been overshadowed by the death last month of the CEO Craig Brown, who we've all known for many years, and I've worked with Craig since 2017. And his tragic death, untimely death, came as an enormous shock, I know, to the people that work with him, and also to the team, of course, that he was overseeing down in Australia. So I recorded an interview yesterday with Adam Jones, the head geologist and director, and that's out. That was published earlier today on Friday, and of course he just said, they've been shock rigid, but what Craig has put in place down there is, ironically, with the announcement this morning, starting to finally come to fruition. And his vision down there, I think, we knew Craig as a fairly uncompromising guy, and he certainly did things his own way, but he had the respect of a great deal of people, and certainly in cricketing parlance, for me, Craig always played with a very straight bat, and that says a lot about the man. But that's it. So moving on to the ECR investment proposition. As we know, ECR is invested across a number of assets in the Victoria Goldfields in Australia. Now, we have some companies down there that own licensed territories and own and have are undergoing sort of trenching and exploration on the property. ECR have actually taken it a stage further. So they have two key properties within the Victoria Goldfields. They have a third called Tambo. They also have an asset in northern Queensland, which was acquired early this year, under Lux Exploration. But Mercator Gold, the Australian operating company that runs and operates the Bayliston and Creswick projects in Victoria, is the key focus. The Craig, working down there, took the decision with the board that what they would do, they raised £2 million early this year, so the company is very well funded, has plenty of cash in the bank, and they took the view that rather than battle with local landowners to try and to try and do a deal so they could go and work on the land, they would actually buy packages of land and properties actually within the license areas, and that's exactly what they've done. So they bought a nearly 300-acre site in the Bayliston area, which is adjacent to HR3 and the Cherry Tree project, and they bought a 45-acre site at Creswick in Springmount Lane, which is also smack bang centre in where the license area where the drilling team have been working. The third property was purchased just outside Bendigo, and that's a 59-acre site. They're planning to move the core logging and all of the administrative and logistical functions of the business in the region to there. Bearing in mind, of course, they have their own drilling rig, and a second drilling rig is soon to arrive in Australia. The company at Creswick, Adam Jones, when I spoke to him earlier in the year when they'd undertaken a drilling campaign there, Adam was referring to the mineral shoots that they're discovering in the region, and also getting an understanding of the complex geology. Within the Creswick region and down to Ballarat, where you have the Ballarat gold mine, it's known as narrow vein mine. So it's where you can take a section of rock and you'll find shoots, as he referred to them, within the rock, but the shoots are intermittent, and so you have to understand the geology and find out where the folds are to ascertain where to drill. And that's what the team have been doing. And obviously some of the drilling results have been great, and some haven't been so good. So what they've attained through this is an understanding of the geology. There are further assay results to come from Creswick, and Adam said in the interview that there will be more drilling results coming through from the team before Christmas. So we can expect a busy time in the next few weeks. But this morning the team announced that on the HR3 goldfield they had achieved initial success. Hole 009, they returned 0.7 meters at 28, just over 28 grams per ton, 52 meters down from the Maori Reef. And they've identified two reefs within HR3, the Scowlers and the Maori Reef. And the drilling, there are some diagrams actually on the announcement where you can see the angles at which the drills have gone in and the level of understanding that they now have for the HR3 goldfield. And that was articulated by the chairman, David Tang, who said, they've now got a clear picture of the HR3 goldfield structure. And Adam firmly believes that there is a goldfield there at Bayliston. He's already said that he believes they'll build a mine at Creswick, and certainly Bayliston, the HR3 territory, would seem to have a similar potential to develop a mine there at some point. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. There's more work to be done. But that's why ECR, funded as they were able to make the purchases of the drilling rigs, hire their own drilling team, and work at their own pace on their own land. And that's a marked difference between the way ECR work and the way other companies work. So going forward, we can expect that there's, I would say, a vacuum at the moment. Obviously, not a leadership vacuum, because I think Adam, David, and Trevor Davenport have picked up the reins and they're working as a committee, and we'll find out more about that in the coming weeks. But certainly, there's a lot more data to come from drilling campaigns at both Bayliston and Creswick before Christmas, so we're going to hear all about that. And I'm certain that we're going to see some more good results. And Adam certainly seems very confident in where the business is going at the moment. As regards the other assets, of course, they also have a 25% stake in the Dangley Gold Project in the Philippines, and this is significant because there's a marked change in the attitude of the Philippines government to mining and exploration development. ECR have also been involved in a food relief program over there in the Danglear region. A lot of people affected by COVID over there. They've been unable to access food supplies, so there are initiatives there. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the coming weeks too. But certainly, just going back to the valuation where ECR is right now, we've got a 12.7 million valuation. Trading just off the year lows, and this is a company still with some 3 million quid in the bank. It's fully funded. It's got the land, the property is appreciating in value, and it's fully funded really until, I think Greg said, certainly for the foreseeable future.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Alan, talking to us there. A couple of gold projects, Caracal and ECR, both presenting some quite attractive investment cases, I think. And hopefully when the liquidity returns to the London markets, then some of these bonds that we talk about will see the sort of exaggerated move when all boats rise. But thank you very much, Alan, and I'll speak to you again next week.
Thank you, Mark. Speak next week.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.